Tracy Lewis from Stuff and Things. It is Paper Pumpkin Day. It probably is the first sunny-ish day where we've picked up our paper pumpkin, and I'm actually not driving, so I can take my footage of us flying home on the freeway. So stay tuned for paper pumpkin fun. All right, I'm home, and I am ready to unbox this month's paper pumpkin. It is called You Are My Anchor, so it implies it's some sort of a beach ocean theme, which is great. Perfect for springtime. Oh yes, so let's see what we've got here. We have a Stampin' Spot in Island Indigo. All right, we have some stamps. We've definitely got a beach theme with a lighthouse, an anchor, sailboat, heart, some birds, a small anchor, a starfish, and the words are, "You are my anchor, for you, ahoy, congratulations. You're a lifesaver, adventure awaits, and thanks." Oh, wow, all sorts of things. Let's see. We've got 4 boxes, it looks like. 4 cards of one style, 4 cards of another style. So 12 total small square cards, 4 styles. And then gift boxes. Mini dimensionals, whole bunch of envelopes. Actually, when I said I saw 4 of each style, I have actually 7 of the seafoam green ones. 6, 7 of the blue. I say 6, but now I'm expecting 7, so I'll have to see if there's another one floating around. This looks like it is definitely a pop-open card or a gift box, because these are gift boxes, and there are definitely 4 of them. Some twine. I see gold cards, blue with little hearts. And another, this is another cover style. Yeah, so those go over here with the boxes. Die cuts, Anchors, Lighthouses, Life Preserver. White die cuts with gold trim. Looks like 4 sheets and some double-sided dots and the instructions. So let's just take a look really quick. I will of course do a create. There's so many, I'll probably do 1 card and 1 box. $20 total card bases, 20 total printed envelopes. 4 printed box bases, 4 printed box lids. All right. So I will go away and get organized and come back so we can do some quick creates and then get on to the alternatives. Stay tuned. All right, I did some counting, made sure that I did have indeed 20 envelopes. That's why I had 7 of one style, 7 of another, that's 14, and then 6 of a third style of envelope. So I looked at the 4 different card styles and I picked the Life Preserver one, or the life ring, lifesaver. And that's what I'm going to do. I have cut this open using my X-Acto. I picked the sentiment, "You're a lifesaver," which I think is great, and for me will be a fun card for a thank you for somebody who has gone out of their way to help me, which lately with the trials and tribulations that we have had, we have a lot of people that I would call lifesavers. Alright, I'm reviewing my videoing and I see that something happened during my create phase. So this was the little card that I created. It has the lifesaver and a piece, this is a 6-inch piece of twine that is adhered at 4 points and then looped with the excess with a banner over the top. So very simple, very cute, but I want to point out here that the way that these little cute cards are, it's front and back. So if you take your card and you want to make a bunch of A2 cards, there's 20 of these, 4 different styles. You can cut them in half. In addition to, so here in this case, the front and the back, there's 2 hearts, no hearts. So this gives you actually 2 different styles. This one gives you 2 of the same. This one would be giving you the design with the foil on the front as well as a plain back. The other alternative is to take these pieces and to tear them. Let's look at the envelopes. The envelopes that they gave you are also 3 styles, and I see that the front is decorated, but I opened it up and sure enough the inside is as well. So if you carefully, like last month for the vintage flower one, the insides of the seed packets had a really nice pattern. So you could carefully take these apart and get even more layers out of them if you wanted to do everything in A2 size. So I like that even though you get the 20 small cards, you can also convert them to the larger cards. In addition, you have the second piece that I made, which was this little gift box that is actually open inside. And this is just a crisscross twine tied in a bow with 2 tags hanging off. Both of these, the anchor and the round tag, have holes for the twine to go through. And I went ahead and stamped the round tag. So you could easily take this piece, which is the outside piece. It's very, very thick, by the way. And you could, it's got a seam right here, and you could take that apart and have yet a different DSP pattern. So I just want to point out that this particular set this month is very DSP heavy with lots of options, and you could make 40 cards, at least 40 cards out of the deal. All right, so now I'm going to get going back with my alternatives. So stay tuned. All right, I've got some alternatives. I'm going to just do 4 today because I am wanting to actually show you guys a couple of the techniques first. So I wanted to get to it. And one technique that is really quick that I used is a color on color background. So here's a piece of the Island Indigo. The reason why I want to show this technique is I think with this particular stamp set, it is really effective. Let's just take the wheel here. I don't really know what that is called. And then I'm going to take Island Indigo ink, which was the reason why I picked this color, is this is what comes in the kit. So very quickly, I picked a round pattern, but you'll see I did some harder ones later on. So very quickly, you can stamp up your own background. At this point, to add a second pattern would be really easy. In my case, I'm going to pick the word ahoy, but you could do like the little heart as well. You could even, if you had separated the wheel, you could have done the anchor, the little sailboat as a secondary item, but I am just going to, I keep rotating the paper. That's just my tactic to make sure that I don't happen to end up with two going the same way. So here I have some instant paper, a colored background, like a pattern paper, your very own DSP. So that's one technique that I use. I also am going to use another very simple technique called sponging. So I cut out, in this case, so on the back of all of my Stampin' Spots, I have sponges, and I am going to ink the edges of this. So very nice and easy technique to add interest to your projects very quickly. Look at that, quick, 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 quick. And if I just grab something, you can see the color accent. All right, another technique that is really fun to use, I have a little snippet over here, is to take a long ribbon-like sentiment, and then you take a dimensional, so I've got a dimensional in the middle here, and then I curve the banner, I guess it's called a banner, curve the banner and then adhere it down so that it gives it a wave. So that is another technique on any of these cards, even the little ones like this one that I did. I think to add a little more interest to this, I could easily have built up a few dimensionals. It might have taken up to 3 dimensionals to get this to do a little curved banner effect. So those are techniques that I think all are effective on this particular style of stamp set. And now I want to go over, I've got some sub-assemblies that I have done to make it quicker to get these finished for you to look at. And here is the first one. I tore 2 of the little cards. I was going to show you card stock. So I tore that pattern, and then I tore this pattern. This pattern is to denote land. This pattern is to denote water, which you will see here pretty quickly. Then I already pre-stamped my Adventure Awaits. I've already adhered these together so that they'll be very quick to assemble. I chose a navy blue. So the colors, I added 2 additional colors. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Night of Navy and Early Espresso are the 2 colors today that I have added of my own color supply. These are the colors that come with the kit as part of the color scheme. Pool Party, Island Indigo, and Calypso Coral. So one of the really cool elements, if I'm just adhering this right while I'm talking, is these little birds. I never even had a good seabird set of stamps for the sky. So this right here is my official first set of seabirds. And I'm thrilled to have them. And I will probably make very good use of them. I have hand drawn. You could very easily take, say, a 0.3 or 0.5 pen and make your own, which I have done many times because I never found the perfect birds. So what I'm doing here is I've got my layers. This is roughly what it is going to look like. I'm going to tie this rope around here for interest's sake. And then I'm going to pop it up. I'm not focusing on bases today too much either, since the bases are easy, pardon me, are easy to get and easy to add to. So I'm going to spend my time working on the techniques. So this is a knot. I have not really tied it tight enough. I will trim it off. And then I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. I have already pre-stamped in Night of Navy, Adventure Awaits, and I want to do our technique that I just talked about. So I have a few extra full-size dimensionals. Just put one in the middle. And then if we want to use the dots that came with the kit, that'll be fine. And I will put a dot on either side so that I can show you the little bit of a wave that I will create for interest. And then this just gets some dimensionals put on. I'm probably going to save my mini dimensionals, so I will grab some of my own dimensionals. Of course, I always cut my dimensionals in strips, the full-sized ones, that is, because many of the times I am working on a smaller size, since I do mostly A2 cards, so I feel like an entire hexagon full-size shaped dimensional is a little bit of too large for what I need. So here is the focal, which is a lighthouse. I like the gold on this as well, and you could easily take a gold pen and do dashed lines, I think, around the sky. Just some extra ideas to consider to add more interest. Love the tearing. I love the vertical versus the horizontal of the land. I think that's very interesting. This is a really fun set. I like that we can have flowers and vintage flowers. And then the next month we have nice an ocean beachy theme, nautical, which is fun to have it be so varied from month to month. That's what I really like about Paper Pumpkin. All right, so I've got my wave. Now I will, to implement the wave, make sure that I put it down with that curve in place. I want it in the bottom corner here. And then the dimensional is going to hold it up. So that's my base. And just to show you what it'll look like, this is what it would look like on an A2 size card. So that is card number 1 finished. Sorry, I was a little off the page here. So card 1 done. Very cute. Like it. I like the lots of white space. Love the little bit of gold. I'll trim off the rope there. And I think it's just cute. The second one, I'm going to go ahead and do, here's the pattern that I made. This one is sailboats and hearts. And I saved some sponging for showing you guys, though I did the demo. And I'm going to use Calypso Coral, and I'm going to sponge around the white. I love this life saver showing the rope around the edge for interest. I think it's very clever, and have it offset. So I'm going to sponge, and I believe I'm going to sponge the seafoam, seafoam, it's called Pool Party. That is a seafoam color, and it is going to go on a white base, which I will do at a later time, but I'll show you what it will look like when it's all done. What I could have done, but I don't have with me, is some sort of an embossing. Our trailer is up getting fixed right now, and I only grabbed a subset of all of my supplies. So actually what you're seeing here is a very limited set of supplies, which is also what I love about Paper Pumpkin. All I brought with me from the trailer is paper, ink, and my little to-go bag, which does have pearls and rhinestones in it. And that's pretty much it. So I'm working within the bounds of my current supplies that I have. And it's interesting from month to month because for the last 3 months, my supplies have varied greatly. From lots of supplies to hardly any supplies to whatever I had on hand for where I'm at, because I seem to be in various places. And I think it's kind of fun and challenging. So basically, here's the layers. You've got the orange, you've got the Calypso coral, I should say, and I will apply that with the Lifesaver, You're a Lifesaver, and that's pretty much it. So let me get to assembling. I think I'm going to go ahead and add some dimension. So I will, of course, pop up the Lifesaver because it's already got the rope, which makes me have to raise it up like so. I think that the patterns that they picked for this set are very fresh and clean. I really like what they picked a lot. So I'm going to center this, but off to the side like that. Got my Lifesaver already down here at the bottom. Now I have all these little hearts. I just wanted to point out that, you know, depending on who the person is that's the Lifesaver, it may be appropriate, or either more appropriate or less appropriate for you to use the hearts. So I like the idea of not putting things that make it more masculine or more feminine. This already has little hearts on the sailboat, so it kind of, on the DSP that I made, will somewhat limit who gets this. But I like having things like hearts or rhinestones or pearls on hand to be able to personalize it to whoever you are actually going to give the card to. But don't put it on the card until the time comes to give it so that you can actually have it work for more people. See, now this, I'm going to have to pay a little more attention to what I'm doing here. It's going to be offset. And I want the orange to line up behind the waves. So that means that the orange is going to be offset. It's not going to be centered. And I think that will work. All right, and I do not believe that I need this to be popped up. I'm toying with whether to line up all 3 sides, or I could offset it even further like that. And I think I'm going to offset it just to make it not look like I intended to center it and I didn't center it correctly. So that's that card. Very simple, very fast. And here is it. I will probably, when I do get the base, I'm going to pop it up. Because I didn't pop up either of these 3 layers, that gives me the ability to add some dimension to the foam, or the pool party layer, as well as the possibility of adding another layer here of the Calypso coral. So what I haven't decided yet is if, when I put it together, if I want that little strip of Calypso coral. So that would be the only change I might possibly make to it, is adding that layer. In either case, I will definitely be popping up the whole thing on top of the base. So that's the second one. The third one is a clean and simple design. I already showed you how it was my sample of sponging. So it's already sponged and ready to go. What I like about these is that they just slip into the bottom and they stay in place without any adhesion, which is awesome. All right, so once again, I have my banner, which actually is going to be centered somewhat like this, and I'll make it raised up like we talked about. Since there's already hearts, I do plan on adding a third little heart down here. And I'm going to adhere these two together and then pop it up. So this is going to be what I would call a clean and simple design. It was really interesting doing these alternatives because I was inclined to doing the square in the middle clean and simple offset on all of them. So it was hard because I visualized clean and simple on pretty much everything because I already had these pre-made mini cards that put that in my mind. And I want the anchor to be popped up. So that is what I will do. I may trim down the rope again. I love this twine that they gave us. I think it is very nautical, of course. And I'm purposefully having the anchor offset. I will then put the dimensional in the middle to do a wavy banner look. It's kind of my theme, I guess, for this alternative edition. Actually, and something I'm noticing here is I want my dots to be, I want it to curve, so I want them in more. So there, I've moved that one. Let's see if I can get this one to move to force the curve. That one's going to be a little more difficult. Got it. Okay, so I just moved those in a little bit more. I also want this to come off the edge, like the anchor. So I don't want the adhesion to be off the edge. Okay. Okay, there you go. And then this one, again, even though these are popped up, I could decide to pop it up on my vertical base. This is a vertical tent base that I have. And I could do a vertical. The other thing I could do with this thin gold, if I had a gold pen, I could do some gold doodling around the edge here and just go around these two elements that are off the page. In fact, before my final picture, I might go ahead and do some additional doodling, but this is definitely just screams of wanting to be doodled. I'm going to add the heart now. Just have to find my micro dots. Love the micro dots. I use them all the time for all the little adhering of the little doodads that I like. All right, so there's that heart. And there's that card. Third card done. The fourth one is a little bit different. I actually kind of got this idea. This is the one I strayed the farthest from the designs because I did our background DSP. I did flags, 3 layers, and I did it tall and vertical, which fits the tall and verticalness of the congratulations, which was the banner that I showed you I had done as a sample. And then it's the only one that I put with a colored base, which is not the norm for me. So I always have to make myself try to get one colored base in. So in this case, again, I haven't added any hearts, but if I knew who I was giving this to, I would very possibly do something like a heart and a heart over here and a third heart, you know, somewhere over here. So that will all be adhered to an early espresso base. So this actually is a really good masculine card, I think. If you had a happy birthday here, you could do happy birthday, you could do thank you, the congratulation, adventure awaits. Any of the sentiments will work. That's one thing I like about the nautical theme, is that pretty much you can use any sentiment and it just applies. So these are my 4 alternatives. I hope that they inspire you to go extend the life of your paper pumpkin. If you don't get paper pumpkin and you do not have a demonstrator, but you watch these, or maybe you had one in the past and you'd like to get paper pumpkin, you can contact me online through my website, which is stuffandthings.com, which is in the comments of the description for this video. And feel free to contact me and I will happily help get you set up with paper pumpkin. There you can pre-purchase multiple months and you get discounts after 6 months. So you can buy up to 1 year of prepaids, or you can just do the month-to-month subscription, which is what I do. Thank you for watching.